Yesterday was a very, very long day. I was awake at 3:30 a.m. Short hop to Mark's house. He drove us to Manchester Airport, Manchester to Zurich, Zurich to Nice, Nice to Monaco. And then in the evening, we saw the Milwaukee presentation and listened to some of the very, very senior people talk about where Milwaukee's come from and where it's going. Okay, we've made it through security. We have got 11 different workstations to visit. The first workstation is cordless technology, batteries, in particular Forge batteries, the latest iteration of Milwaukee batteries, the beating heart of all of their power tools. In this workstation, we're going to learn a little bit more about them and have a go with one very specific machine, which I'm very excited about. Okay, so that was a bit of a teaser. Just have a look at this. This is the latest twin battery ground saw from Milwaukee now. They've just told me that I can't have a go with it in this workstation, but there is a workstation later that I do get to let this thing rip. We've just seen a demonstration, the high output batteries versus the Forge batteries, and the difference is profound. The high output batteries are very good, but the Forge batteries are next level. Let's go take a look at some chargers.
We have cool cycle on our M18 system, which means these batteries are actively cooled. The dual base supercharger has fans included that push cold air out of the charger. The new battery housings have cooling vents on the top and bottom, so this cold air enters the battery, cools down the cells. On the top side you can see the warm air can just emit. One of our new technologies for our Forge batteries, just to make sure both packs recharge up to 80% in only 35 minutes.
This is the new 6-bay Packout compatible M18 charger, and it is transport rated. What that means is that you can mount it in your van, then you can drive your van, and it ain't going to fall off where you've mounted it to. The batteries lock in. I kind of fancy a couple of those for my van. What do you think, Mark? I think one would suit yours as well.
I think so.
So there's several electricians with us on this trip, and they have been all raving about this. This is essentially a generator, but there's no petrol, there's no diesel, it's all electric. It charges up quick and dispenses electricity back into the batteries rapid fire. Now, I'm not technologically minded enough to give a full detailed description of it, but apparently this is the future.
This product launching this month and will give our users access to power anywhere. The roll-on power supply has an internal core with 2.5 kilowatts hour, providing 7,200 peak watts and 3,600 constant watts of output. The unit gets recharged in 3 hours. In just 35 minutes you can recharge up to 25%. With the 2.5 kilowatts hour internal core you can recharge up to 20 M18 5 amp batteries or 12 M18 8 amp batteries. Lastly, roll-on power supply has IP54 and it's therefore rated for usage outdoor in all weather conditions.
I'm smiling because of this word here, Packout. Most of you know that I'm a massive Packout fan. We've got a Packout wall in the workshop and the van is completely decked out with Packout. The range is just mind-blowing. There is a solution for literally everything. I'm going to summarize it now and pick out one or two key things. So this is a new fixings organizer. Lots of different bins, all of them removable. I know lots of you like to keep things really organized, but what's interesting about this is, well, let me show you. Nothing's falling out. Imagine having that in the van and knowing that you're not going to open your door and see screws and nails and fixings everywhere. That is genius. Van setups are virtually limitless. I've got mine set out with mounting plates just on the floor so I can take stuff out, put big volumes of materials in, move the tools around. It works brilliantly for me. This van is kind of similar, mounting plates on the floor, but also mounting plates across all of the walls. Like I said, it's just virtually limitless. So one of the main pieces of feedback from consumers about the rolling toolbox is the fact that when you've got a load of Packout stuff stacked on top of it, you couldn't get at your tools in the rolling toolbox without taking all that stuff off. Only a small problem, but nevertheless something that Milwaukee have addressed. They've listened to you and done this. They've turned the rolling toolbox into a drawer. What that means is that you can load this up with whatever you want and access it at all times irrespective of how tall your Packout tower is. That just goes to show how in tune with their consumers Milwaukee are. They listen, they develop, and then they launch. The other thing that Milwaukee have done is make the space on the side of their toolboxes available for storing more stuff. Now, with these clip-on attachments, you can store things like M12 batteries, M18 batteries, all kinds of different accessories and fixings. It just makes sense, doesn't it? Make the space usable. This is very exciting. I can see me coming up with a list of stuff that I want for myself.
One of the newest competitors entering the market in the Packout organizer. Yeah, just see and watch what happens.
Yeah. The thing about Packout is that the range is so big, you will find yourself desperately trying to justify new things, even though you've absolutely no requirement for them whatsoever. For example, I'm a chippy, not an electrician, but I kind of want an electrician's tool bag. I don't know why, it's just a cool looking thing. I definitely get some use out of it, not entirely sure what, but I kind of want one, and that goes much further than that. Follow me. So this is a dedicated toolbox specific for electricians. It's aimed directly at them. We have a fine example of an electrician here. It comes fully loaded with all the bits and pieces that you can see, including, this is great, not so much about that. Look at that, look, a sweet little electrician size hammer. Isn't that cute? There you go. You'll need 2 hands for that.
Oh, cheers, mate.
Some of you might know that guy. That's R. Davies Electrical. All right, look, I'm gonna have to drag myself out of the Packout workstation. I could spend all day in here, but there's a lot more to see, so best I keep moving. Okay, lighting and lifestyle. Some of you will have seen on my Instagram feed that I got sent a whole box of head torches and neck torches and all kinds of things. The neck torch is one of my favorites. It's here. This is one of those things that you just think, I didn't know I needed that in my life, but now I've seen it and now I've used it, I definitely need this in my life, and I've got one. The clear view lighting goes from the sublime to the ridiculous. This is the MX fuel light. If you need to light up an entire continent, that is the light for you. I think for me, the most interesting thing on this stand is the audio, the speakers. Follow me. So I use the big Packout stereo and I love it. Having music blasting away on the job site lifts the mood and increases work rate. And you might think, well, that's the only Packout compatible stereo or speaker that's available. That is not the case. The smaller version is this M12. It's really, really well thought out, and there's a multitude of different mounting options. You can just leave it stood there. It's quite happy all day. Or you can take this mounting plate and screw that to a wall so you can fix it up high, low, wherever you want. If that's not convenient enough for you, you can hang it up. And that is a Packout cleat. What do you reckon, Mark? Is this going to fit in my pocket? Can we just take this with us? I think we'll just take it with us. We've got one of these M18 job site radios that lives in the workshop. That means I get to listen to my 90s and noughties dance and trance to my heart's content in the workshop. This is the big Packout one. This is the one that turns our job site essentially into a nightclub. But it might have been overtaken by this one that I've just heard. That thing is loud. And this is the latest M18 Generation 2 job site speaker. What a cool looking thing. Apparently you can get multiples of these all talking to each other, all in stereo, all in tune. What's not to love?
Multi-directional task light, 4,500 lumen, means 500 more than our previous strongest. You can turn it from an area light, like this or this, into a floodlight. Also you can dim it in different levels and control the light panels individually.
Really smaller than the other. It has the same size as a smartphone, so you can have it in almost any pocket, car, bags. Easily storage in a Packout system. You've got magnets and the head is completely free. Also, you've got a built-in carabiner, so you can put it around studs, pipes, anywhere you want. And this light is the perfect solution for maintenance in automotive, plumbing, or electrician.
On full power, I'll let you guys know the experience of this. We're able to produce up to 1,400 cubic meters of airflow. On the higher setting, we have a runtime of 3 hours, and on the lowest, we have a runtime of 83, all by using an M18 B5 battery. This fan is also Packout compatible, so it is great for chucking onto your stacks, onto the walls, or even mounted directly onto the wall itself.
So this next workstation is one that I've been looking forward to all morning. This is OPE. OPE stands for Outdoor Power Equipment. Chainsaws belong in this category. This is where I get to have a go with the dual battery chainsaw, among other things. Let's go get involved.
So, first product I'd like to present is the M18 fuel dual battery chainsaw, and this is designed specifically to take advantage of our new forged technologies. Now just on 2 forged 8-amp batteries, we can deliver 4.3 kilowatts of output power. That's 5.8 horsepower and 20% more power than our closest 60cc petrol competition.
Just putting my chaps on. This is the only time you'll ever see me wearing chaps, but this outfit is the ticket to being able to use the dual battery chainsaw, so I'm not bothered what I look like. Helmet is on. Visor is down. This grin is not for the camera. This is exciting. So I was pushing it there, and I could have pushed it harder. That has got power for days. Kind of need one of these. But how can we justify one of these, Mark?
We need to sharpen our pencil.
We need to sharpen our pencils. This is the tool for it. The other demonstration that I've seen is how fast you can plunge the whole blade into a log. So let's have a go at that. I think we'll leave it at that. PPE is on. We're going to have a go with the hedge cutter, but not cutting a hedge. We're going to cut some thick softwood and hardwood dowels. Way more than you'd ever expect it to do. Let's see how it copes. Absolute dowel destruction. That was a lot of fun. Now, not all hedges are at low level. Some hedges are at high level, which is where this thing cuts in. Again, we're going to test it in the extreme on some softwood and hardwood dowels. Not surprisingly, absolutely minced it. So we've got the little M12 blower. We use it all the time for cleaning dust off machines, for sweeping the van out. We just use it all the time. It's a great piece of kit. But there is a comedy size version available. Check this out. You ready? Not entirely sure that was the official demonstration, but it worked. Better do a bit of tidying up before I get in trouble. Okay, transportation, spanners, socket sets, shiny things. Not things that we use every day, but things that I am interested in. Let's go take a look. So I've got one of the laser cut inserts in my Packout drawers with a socket set in and one or two other bits and pieces. And when I first got hold of it, what struck me was the quality. They feel properly professional industrial grade. They are made beautifully, and I have no doubt that the socket set that I have got will last me or anybody a lifetime. It's one of those sets of tools that's just lovely to use. It makes me smile just because of the way it feels and the way it's been engineered. Love them. Just another little note on the laser cut foam inserts. This chest is absolutely full of them. All kinds of different tools, all laid out absolutely beautifully. You can see how many different variations of the laser cut inserts there are. In excess of 45. I absolutely love them. There's just nothing quite as satisfying as seeing all of your tools all laid out beautifully, perfectly. It just makes life easier. It really does. We're all guilty of hitting our tools with a hammer. Milwaukee have decided not to try and stop people doing that, but develop a set of T-handles that actually encourage you to hit them. These have a metal striking plate. We've all done it. We've all got a slightly rounded out nut or bolt, and we've all smacked these things with a hammer. Now you're allowed to do it.
That was funny. She got it before it was not.
Normally you'd feel guilty doing that. Today, not so much. I've not seen this before. This is the new M12 random orbit sander, specific for automotive applications. Now, a lot of you will remember the resin tables that we made for this event. Had I have known about this, I am convinced that this would have been my go-to tool to sand and polish those tables. There was nothing wrong with the tools and machines that we used, but that would have made life a bit easier and a bit quicker. Okay, impact wrenches. This one is specifically designed for railway work, and I've just asked, is the biggest impact wrench that they do, but the most powerful is this one. Looks like something out of an action hero film, doesn't it? How cool's that? Pretty sure in this arena they won't miss one of these trolleys. PPE and workwear. I know that Mark is a fan of this because Milwaukee do a big range of heated workwear. And you're a bit of a chilly fish, aren't you, Mark?
Not anymore. I've heated workwear.
Quite. So let's go take a look at the latest heated workwear and one or two other bits and pieces as well. So the previous generation Milwaukee heated workwear used carbon fibre heating elements, which sounds really impressive, and it was and still is. But just like Milwaukee always do, they have moved forward and advanced technology. Now we've got Hexon technology. In short, what that means is that the heat dispersion is far more even. These are the carbon fibre ones. This is the Hexon technology. You can see how better dispersed the heat is. And in terms of batteries, they've launched the new, slim, small, heated workwear battery pack. There was nothing wrong with the other one, but this is better. The other thing that the Hexon technology does is heats up really, really fast. This demo shows that. These are the carbon fibre elements. These are the Hexon heating elements. This is a heat sensing camera. If I turn them both on, you'll see the right side, the Hexon technology, is already warm. The carbon fibre side, the left-hand side, is going to take a little while to heat up. There we go. So you can see, when you turn your heater jacket on with the new technology, you're going to be warm pretty quickly. Right, boots. We touched on these at the last conference last year in Stockholm. They are coming. I have a pair, I've got a pair of these. I've been putting them through their paces every day at work on the job site, and they are just lovely. The first time I wore these, it was for 8 hours straight and 0 breaking time. But the ones that I'm really looking forward to getting are these ones. These are the Flex Tread ones with the water repellent nubuck and the BOA lace system. I'm fairly confident that a pair of these will be on the end of my legs very soon. And next winter, maybe we'll have a pair of the Armour Tread ones as well. Ideally, I'd have a pair of all of them, to be honest. There is a massive range of workwear, everything from trousers that are coming to base layers, to t-shirts, to hoodies, hats, beanies, everything. But over there is a stand full of gloves. And I want to show you one specific pair. So the range of gloves is enormous. Milwaukee do everything from lightweight, nimble gloves to gloves with cut protection and gloves with impact protection. But what they did is take all the best bits, all the best and latest technology, and put them into one glove, which looks like this. Knuckle protection, cut protection, and anti-vibration technology. If you've only got room for one pair of gloves, surely these are the ones that you want. These things are very trick. Clear lenses currently. Watch this. So what that's doing is exposing those lenses to UV light, the same that you get from the sun. And now, they've gone dark. One last thing on workwear and PPE, that is this M12 heated gilet. This is ideal in the UK for kind of March, April time, where it's too warm for a full heated jacket, but still a bit too chilly for just a t-shirt or a hoodie. Heated gilet. I don't know, it's almost too smart for workwear, isn't it? So we're going to take a look at some accessories now, things like saw blades, drill bits, the stuff that you need all day, every day, and Milwaukee have got it all just absolutely on point. You'll see. What?
Yeah?
So there's about 3,500 accessories from Milwaukee. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about each one in isolation, but what I do want to show you are these MX4 SDS drill bits. Most drill bits have 2 carbide teeth at the end, but Milwaukee's just a bit extra, isn't it? So Milwaukee have gone with 4 carbide teeth at the end of their SDS drill bits. Take a closer look. Now, I am very, very familiar with these because the resin tables, the epoxy resin tables that we made for this show, the concrete one is full of MX4 SDS drill bits. They are something that is very close to my heart. So this is the concrete section, which you can probably hear is very noisy. So before we go next door, I'm going to show you the machines that we're going to see. The first one, which I'm hoping to get hands on, is this concrete rammer. Apparently, this has got a very clever little trick up its sleeve. That is a compaction plate. I'm not entirely sure if there's one next door to have a go with, but I did have a go with one last year, and it is very, very impressive. The other thing that we can see is one of these concrete polishing machines. That is in action, but I think that's enough telling you what we're going to see. I think maybe we just go and see them. Unfortunately, I can't get hands on the rammer, but this gentleman who works in Milwaukee is going to show us exactly what it does. So you can see, if you did end up in a situation whereby you ended up or had to let go of the tool, when it falls to the floor, it shuts off instantly. Okay, that up there is an M18 chain hoist that's being powered by a forged 12 amp hour battery, and I've already seen it pick this dumper up. So I'm going to give it a bit more, a few extra kilos.
think that'll do.
It will lift a full ton. So the concrete polishing machine, this is a piece of kit that I do get to have a go with. This is MX fuel powered. That's quite enough of that. It polishes the concrete, it does exactly what it says on the tin. I've never used one before. It's really, really easy and intuitive to use. So I've used the term MX fuel a few times in this video. You all know what an M18 battery looks like, and most of you know what an M12 battery looks like. They're smaller. But MX fuel, I'm not sure everybody's seen one. That is an MX fuel battery, and that is what powers the very biggest, most powerful Milwaukee machines. Okay, this workstation has been called Construction and Interior Finish, which we all know means carpentry, which means saws. So let's go and let the sawdust fly. Okay, let's start with nail guns, specifically the coil nailer, which I've had my hands on for a short while. Interestingly, some of the composite slates from Britmet have made it to Monaco and are on display. We did a video on this fairly recently, which was really well received because it fits those tiles rapid fire. The coil nailer also is equipped with bump fire mode, which is one of my favorite Milwaukee features across all of the products, and that's what I'm going to show you now in some of these felt shingles. Bump fire with the coil nailer. I'm going to push it, I'm going to go fast. Like, you don't need to nail that quick, but you can, which is pretty exciting. So Milwaukee don't just make one nailer. We've looked at the coil nailer, they make a full range. And there's a couple of them that are a little bit unusual. Have a look at this. So this is a duplex nailer. This is for shooting nails that can be quickly removed. So, for example, if you are involved in concrete shuttering, you're going to make your shuttering frame, you're going to make your shuttering form, but then you need to take it down. That's where this comes in, and it shoots some very specific nails. You can see that the head remains very proud, and that means you can get your hammer in there or your crowbar in there and pull those out very quickly. I kind of like it. Unusual. The other one is this. This is a fencing stapler. So for agricultural purposes, stapling wires and chicken wire, pig wire, that kind of thing to fence posts. Fencing stapler, it shoots staples. Big, heavy duty, not likely to come out staples. Two quite unusual nail guns. And then over here, we have got an 18 gauge brad nailer. This is the one that shoots the smallest brads. That's got no nails in it. And this is for applications, second fix carpentry applications where you need a mechanical fixing, but you don't necessarily want to see much of it. They are very, very small. This one is the next size up. This is a 16 gauge nailer, again for second fix carpentry, but where you need a bit more grab and a bit more bite from a slightly bigger brad. Helps if you turn it on. So you can see, still very small, still very neat, but slightly bigger than the 16 gauge. Anyway, that is a selection of nail guns from Milwaukee. One of the questions I get asked a lot is, what is my favorite Milwaukee tool? And I always answer the same. It is this rear handle saw. This one is the 2025 model, which I've had for some time. It's a little bit different to the previous one. It's lighter, it has a dust extraction port. I like the fact you can use it one-handed. I like the fact you can use it above your head. There's just nothing that I don't like about this machine. Blade is on the left, direct line of sight. It's just a great piece of kit. If you're looking for one do-it-all handheld circular saw, I highly recommend the rear handle saw. So this has been optimized to deliver its maximum potential using a Forge battery. It's just brilliant. It really is just a brilliant piece of kit. So this is the latest 190mm M18 fuel circular saw, but it's got a party trick. It is compatible with the guide rails. It's also got the same motor as the rear handle saw. I don't have one of these, but I know how powerful the rear handle saw is, so I'm gonna see how powerful this is. I'm fairly sure it will feel very, very similar to the rear handle saw. Now I was pushing hard then, way harder than you would do on a job site. It didn't balk, it didn't slow down, it didn't burn, nothing. That is a powerful piece of kit running a Forge battery, which, as we've just discussed, is optimized for this machine. So this is the new M12 sander. We've got an ever-increasing amount of M12 stuff, and I love it. It is not to be sniffed at. Initially, I think I've said this before, initially I was only really interested in the M18 stuff. Bigger is surely better, but that is not the case. The M12 stuff really does have its place on the job site, and this little sander is no different. The more M12 stuff I can have in my collection, the better. This is the new M18 Fuel Orbital Sander, which we've had the use of for the last few months. One thing that we haven't been able to demonstrate is its ability to talk to the latest dust extractor. It's a very clever piece of kit. When you turn the sander on, the dust extractor comes on automatically, and not surprisingly, the reverse happens when you turn the sander off. The dust extractor also turns off. It will run for 2 or 3 seconds just to remove the dust from the hose, but it will shut itself down automatically. In fact, let's do one better. Let's show you. Turn the sander on, and the dust extractor comes on. Turn the sander off, and as if by magic, 2 or 3 seconds later, the dust extractor shuts itself down. That adds a lot of convenience to the workshop environment. Before we move on to the next workstation, there is one more quite exciting thing. It is loosely carpentry related, but not M18 or M12 related. Let me show you. So this is our comedy size mallet, which if you follow me on Instagram or TikTok, you'll have seen us use countless times. It's quite exciting to think that this mallet that was made in North Yorkshire has made it all the way to Monaco to the 2025 Milwaukee Dealer Conference. That is some accolade. I didn't expect this comedy size prop, essentially that's what it is, to make it all the way here. Anyway, rumour has it, it's been pretty well received. And some of the guys who are over there, they tell me they're strong enough to pick it up. I'm not entirely convinced. So we're in the hand tool zone now, and we're going to spend just a few minutes, first of all, looking at tape measures. Not all tape measures are born equal. They're just not, and the Milwaukee ones are very special. Come and have a look. So this one is called the Stud. I kind of like that name. I think it kind of suits me. That was very tongue-in-cheek, by the way. But this one, as the sign says, has the most durable blade in its class. This is the one that's going to last the longest. The one next to it is called the wide blade. Not surprisingly, it's got a wide blade, and that means it stands out a really, really long way. In fact, I'm going to show you how far now. Okay, here we go. My target is up there, look. That's 2.6 meters, 3.8 meters. Still going, 4.7 meters, still up there. That was almost 5 meters. That is some standout. Features on other models include magnetic tips, like this one. That's pretty impressive, but not everybody needs a great big tape measure. Sometimes you just need a little one, a slim one. So every trade needs spirit levels of all different shapes and sizes. Sometimes you come across a spirit level that's got a surprise feature, and this is one of those situations. This little torpedo level here has a button on it. When you press the button, the vials light up. Now that only seems like a small, insignificant feature, but how many times have you been in a scenario where it's dimly lit or in an awkward dark corner and you can't quite see whether your bubble is telling you the story that it wants to tell you? Now there's no excuses. Illuminated vials on this Milwaukee torpedo level. That's very cool. So, set squares. Pretty much a staple for any carpenter. We've been using this small roofing square for some time. We've also been using this big framing square, but fresh onto the market is this big version of the roofing square. Does exactly the same as the small one, just bigger. But the other thing you can do with this, as I'm sure a lot of you know, is use it as a guide for your handheld circular saw. I'll show you. What that gives you is perfectly square cuts without the need to draw a line. Perfect. So the more you learn about Milwaukee, the more you realize that the range of hand tools is vast. For example, who knew there was this many versions of metal snips? I didn't until now, but each one of these has its own individual purpose. Over here, we've got a range of side cutters and little tiny flush cut trimmers for cable ties. Every trade is catered for in terms of hand tools. Over there, where I'm headed now, is some more interesting stuff. So, we've seen small tape measures. Now we've got really, really big tape measures. We've got big spirit levels. There's one in particular, this one here, which is 2.4 meters or just about 8 feet long. That is a long spirit level. We've also got Inkzol marking pens. We use these all the time. There isn't much that these won't write on. In fact, have we found anything that these won't write on?
Your forehead.
They don't, well, we've never tried that, but all jokes aside, the Inkzol pens, the small ones and the big ones, pretty much write on everything. Chalk lines, folding rulers, testing equipment for electricians, etc. The range is just enormous. Not all of this applies to me, but being able to see it and touch it and feel it is exciting. So one key is a couple of different things really. It's the system that's built into a lot of Milwaukee tools that makes them customizable and traceable, but it's also to do with these things, which you can put on your tools and equipment when one key isn't available, which makes them trackable. Now I'm going to tell you a little story. When I was in Germany filming with Milwaukee, one of the demonstrations I was doing was with a chop saw, and we were messing about with the one key feature. I was able to disable it. I forgot to re-enable it, and when that particular machine got taken off to a different workstation on the job site, it was still disabled. There was no way of turning it back on. The one key system is that effective. It is unhackable. The only person that could turn that machine back on was me. So some of the Milwaukee staff had to come and find me, ask me to turn the machine on so that they could carry on using it. It is that effective. We've got one key built into quite a few of our tools, and we use the customization feature so that we get the most out of our tools for the task in hand. It really is very, very clever, and you get to know where your tools are, and more importantly, if they've been pinched. It gives you a much better chance of recovering your tools if somebody unscrupulous takes them away. Like all things Milwaukee, it is nothing but heavy duty. That sounds a bit cliche, but these Bluetooth tracking tags they are tough. I'll show you. There's one in the bottom of this tube. You can see it in there on top of that Packout. This is a lump hammer. Still works fine. Now that's been happening to this particular tracking device every day, repeatedly for 2 weeks. And it's still fine. Like I said, stuff is built to last. So I've got two identical sawzalls. This one has been customized to cut in the most effective fashion possible this piece of stainless steel pipe. This one, same machine, has not been customized. I'm going to show you the difference. We'll go with the uncustomized one first. So it made it through, but only just, and not in a particularly effective fashion. Let's see the difference between this machine and the same machine, but that's been customized to cut stainless steel pipe. Same machine, same battery, same blade, same pipe, same everything, but customized. See? The difference is profound. It's been customized to have a much, much lower cutting speed. There's still teeth on the blade, the cut is much cleaner, and the cut was much, much quicker. Not just a little bit different. So that was a whistle-stop tour of the 2025 Milwaukee Dealer Conference in Monaco. And to get to come to these events is a real privilege. I am aware that not everybody gets invited to these kinds of places, so thank you to Milwaukee for having us. Just round here, one final thing are the resin tables, the ones that you've seen us make in a previous video. Before I show you those, now would be a really good time to subscribe to the channel if you've enjoyed watching the videos that we've made up to press, this one included. It's quiet now, everybody's gone home. Let's go and have a look at these tables. This one's the concrete one. I was watching this from a distance earlier, and there was dealers and representatives from Milwaukee doing actual proper business over this table. That was a real privilege to see. It really was, to see them being used in action. Wow, these things got made in North Yorkshire and shipped all the way to Monaco. The other one, the wooden one, is just over here. Again, we saw what I can only assume are huge deals being done over this table that I made alongside Mark, who's behind the camera. We put our heart and souls into these, didn't we?
Did.
I think that is evidential from the video. If you haven't seen that video, go and give it a watch. Anyway, that is me signing off with a very tired voice. Thank you very much for watching.